Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of CryptoClarify.io. I'm Ryan, joined by my friend and co-host here, George.
Hey everybody.
And today we're going to talk to you about one of the coins that started it all, Bitcoin. And I'm sure everyone's heard the name, but George, take it away. Tell us a little bit about Bitcoin.
So the way to think about Bitcoin is to think of it as programmable money. So it's money that is indeed more programmable than our current currency, but it doesn't have the full programmability of other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum or Neo or even Litecoin. But what it lacks in programmability, it certainly does make up for with resilience, robustness, and security.
Yep.
So in verifying transactions and keeping them secured, Bitcoin is definitely the winner.
Right, and for beginners that are new to the whole Bitcoin phenomenon, Bitcoin is a currency that lives on the internet and on the computers, obviously, that operate in that space. There are no bills or coins, printed or minted. And of course, it's decentralized, so there's no government or institution like banks or any authorities that really control it. It's borderless. And that can be kind of scary, but at the same time, kind of exciting. Really opens up opportunities, limits fees, and makes individuals their own banks. It's a pretty cool technology.
Yeah, it's a crazy technology. It's super innovative, and we get a lot of questions from people that are like, well, why would I want to use Bitcoin? Why do I need to use Bitcoin? And the answer is, well, you don't. You live in a privileged society in which you have secure banking, you have credit cards, you have digital money. In fact, Bitcoin was not the first digital currency. There always was some form of digital money. Most of the money we use today is digital money. It's just that it relies on centralization. And with centralization comes a single point of failure and a central clearinghouse. So basically, I have to trust that Visa, the owner of my credit card or the custodian of my credit card, is going to make sure my transaction goes through. I have to trust it. I have to trust that my account is going to be accurate. I have to trust they're not going to overcharge me. I have to put a lot of trust into central authorities. And with Bitcoin, you don't have to do that. So it operates just like any other currency. Solves some of the problems that we see with other currencies, with previous iterations of digital money. You don't have a double spend problem, meaning that I can't create a second Bitcoin out of thin air. You have to mine it. And if you mine it, you have to put up electricity, and computational power becomes a very expensive process. The other thing that it solves is there's no central clearinghouse. It's purely peer-to-peer. It's decentralized, completely decentralized.
Owners are anonymous, not providing names or tax IDs, social security numbers. Rather, Bitcoin connects buyers and sellers through encryption keys.
So we do not have to trust that a bank is going to say, this is a valid transaction. This transaction can go through.
Also, the fact that Bitcoin has no centralized control, no central source of information, and no central governance, and most importantly, no central point of failure. And again, there will be less fees and less moving parts to the payment process, which makes it a lot faster.
Yes, it is super fast compared to traditional means and also cheap compared to traditional means. So if you look at a company that specializes in moving currency from nation to nation like Western Union or MoneyGram, usually their fees become higher the more remote the country is. So for the least privileged people, they usually end up paying the highest fees. So they keep the less of their money, as opposed to someone moving money from, say, United States to Canada. The fees there are going to be very low. But if you were to ship money from, say, the United States to Cambodia or rural Cambodia, the fees might actually be very high.
Right.
So Bitcoin is a great equalizer in that respect. Yep. One of the genius factors behind Bitcoin is that it's deflationary. So what do we mean by deflationary? Basically, There's no government controlling it. No government can create more money. No central authority can create more money. And it's actually going to become more and more scarce, more and more difficult to mine.
Right. So in Bitcoin's earliest years, mining could easily be handled by a desktop computer with just a really powerful CPU, powerful graphics chip. But as more and more people do it, obviously the technology becomes more expensive and it becomes more specialized. So it's less of a hobbyist type deal and more of a really professional endeavor, because obviously the power consumption, we've talked about that in the past, to mine Bitcoin is staggering now.
And as a store of value, it has been volatile. I guess that's one way of saying it. But it does store a significant amount of value.
Again, compared to a majority of other coins out there, it's a relatively low supply. 21 million is the cap, I believe. And again, that's extremely low.
So currently it's, I think, 16.9 million
Wow.
are in circulation, and 21 million is the absolute, is the cap. And it's been out. It's been living since 2009. It's been out in the wild. It's been tested. It's been attacked. It's been attacked over and over again. We've heard countless news stories about how Bitcoin has died.
Yeah. Powerful entities do not want Bitcoin to stick around. They really want it to go away. Again, it makes individuals their own banks. It allows for money to be transferred all over the world with little fees and, of course, a lot of privacy. Governments don't know how to tax it, they don't understand the technology, and they don't know how to regulate it. So they kind of want it to go away as well, or like die out, like George had mentioned. A little side note, I believe that the first country to adopt it, and rather than fighting this technology, will really greatly benefit from it.
Yes, it is a scary thing. And you can essentially, with Bitcoin, you can essentially become your own bank. I can control my private keys, and I can store money.
Move money. Yep.
And money at a basic level is a way to store labor. That's one way of thinking about money. And I don't need a bank to do that anymore. I can use Bitcoin.
Good reason for powerful entities to want Bitcoin to go away.
Well, there's one more thing that we should mention about Bitcoin.
Sure.
And that's, in its design, it mimics gold. In the sense that 2,000 years ago, gold was much easier to find. You could find it on the surface. You could mine not too deep, and you could still find gold. But it became rarer and rarer. And nowadays it is extremely rare. And Bitcoin is actually designed to mimic that. So it will become more valuable as time moves on because it will become more scarce.
Okay, everybody. And again, we like to say we're not giving financial advice. We're just simply talking about some of the more fun and popular altcoins out there in the altcoin marketplace. We ask that you go visit cryptoclarify.io, check out the latest and greatest podcast and the articles that have to do with the altcoins that we cover, the latest and greatest press releases. So go visit cryptoclarify.io, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And thanks for joining us here on cryptoclarify.io.
Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate it.